I'm Hannah and I'm a third year psychology student. I think social media is kind of a common ground, so I feel like even if you don't know somebody, then you can get to know them through what they put online. So say somebody went on holiday and then you went to the same place, you're like, oh, I can relate to them. And then if you saw them in real life, then that could be kind of like a common ground. So you'd be like, oh, I saw you went to this place, like I've been there before, it's nice, isn't it? And that's kind of, it sparks conversation and it sparks maybe like just, yeah, common ground. So I like to just kind of be constant and not have any like barriers or kind of miscommunication or misinterpretation of my life through social media. So I personally don't really post that much on social media compared to other people. I don't really like want to be seen as fake because I like to think that I'm not very fake. I hope to think anyway. But yeah, I can see why it's tempting for people to kind of portray themselves in a different light on social media because they might have insecurities themselves, and then a platform that other people can see, they might feel like they want to change themselves a little bit. So if you see like a celebrity or someone in the media, someone that's quite high social ranking or anything like that kind of in the limelight, if you see them, you're like, oh, I have to be like that because that's what everyone wants. And it's like if they get a lot of likes, you're like, oh, if they're getting likes, then I should act like them. I should portray myself like they are. So yeah, I think that's, people do feel pressured, and the more that other people do it, the more they feel they need to do it. So it kind of just propels from there. Yeah, I just didn't feel the need. I used to be a little bit self-conscious, so I didn't want to like put myself out there to feel vulnerable. So I think that taking a step back and not engaging as much as kind of like your average, I'd say average young women, because I feel like it is young women that post more than males do. And that's kind of like better for me, I'd say. But I can 100% understand why people do, because it does give you a boost of confidence if someone's like, oh, that picture of you the other day, or that video you posted, or this thing that you shared, like I really enjoyed that, whether it's like it looked nice, whether you related to something they shared, like a news article or something like that. It's like, yeah, I can see the benefits of posting on social media, yeah. There was a recent news article on Instagram, and now they've changed policy and are removing tags, but there was a young girl who committed suicide because she was exposed to kind of self-harm images on Instagram. So obviously in that way, that's horrible and it's like detrimental for your mental health, and there's like not enough protection sometimes on platforms. But if we're talking about other platforms such as like Pinterest, LinkedIn, and maybe Facebook to some extent, or Twitter, I think it just depends what you expose yourself to and what you choose to follow or what you kind of see. So on Twitter, it's more professional background, and especially LinkedIn, whereas Instagram, if you go on the explore setting, you can see anything really that's not private. So I think, yeah, bottom line, it depends on what you're seeing yourself. I don't see why people would want to see like, oh yeah, just made an egg, sort of like mundane and like boring parts of my life. If I've gone on a day trip or I've gone on holiday, that's the content I choose to share. And I don't know, it's like validation from other people. You're like, oh, you must be living a really exciting life. And then even though it might not always be reality, like you don't always go on holiday, you're not always doing like amazing stuff in your life. Like you do have to do the mundane things. And you do have to like have a bad day, and you're not always in a positive mood. And I think it's important for social media to reflect that a bit more, perhaps. So I think it'd be better if people did start posting that sort of content to actually be relatable to other people. Within 5 seconds you could get your phone out and then see it all, whereas I think in the past it wasn't such a big deal because you'd either have to seek it yourself or it was up on posters and you could block it out easier. But I think the divide between social media and real life that's so crossed over now that it's difficult to detach that. I think it's quite common to use it often, but what I tend to do is I kind of go on it and then go off it a bit, and then like a couple minutes later you get a bit bored, and then so I think, yeah, it's more of a distractor, I'd say. Like if you're bored, then you just like, oh, I might as well get my phone out and have a look what's going on, sort of thing.
And what's like the main reason for you using social media?
I think it's to keep up with people. I like to say as being away from being away from home at uni, I mean, it's nice to keep up with people from back home and vice versa. So when we're not in term time, people that I've met at uni, it's nice to see what they're doing, especially with like Snapchat because it's instant, and on Instagram, like to see what they've been up to and stuff. And I think it's difficult to have a one-to-one conversation with people about what they're doing because you don't have the time in the day to do that. So it's easier, I think, for people to kind of put what they're doing in one place, everyone can see it, And then if people choose to comment and engage in further conversation, then that's easy to do so. I kind of noticed that people that aren't doing as well are like a little bit upset. They're kind of a bit withdrawn from social media. So it's reflective of your mood, I'd say. So I think if you're in a better mood and you've got a lot going on and you want to kind of show that off, then you're more on social media, but vice versa if you're kind of a bit more withdrawn from it. I think it's coming back to like comparing yourself to others, and if you're feeling a little bit insecure and if you're feeling a bit kind of that you can't compete with other people, I think a quick fix for that is to be like, oh, look at me, I'm doing this amazing thing. And then you can look back on it as well. So I'm not saying it's all a negative thing, because I think overall it would be a positive to kind of look back on memories and be like, oh yeah, even though like I don't always have the best day, I did this thing 6 months ago that's kind of popped up on my phone to remind me of that. So I think, yeah, overall it's a positive thing. I think it'd be difficult to be honest, and it would be difficult to admit if you're not always how you portray yourself. But that's why I think it's important for more people to do it. So I do think there's a trend now, especially with celebrities and people in the media, kind of saying, like, spreading body positivity especially, and saying, like, even though I didn't feel 100% amazing in this photo, that I've still posted it. And I think people are admitting more and people are talking more about it. I think a few years ago when social media first became really big, I think people were kind of, were not lying, but not being honest. But now people are like, oh, you can be honest if you want to be. And I think it's reassuring for people to kind of see that, and they're like, oh, I can do that too. So it's like a cycle of that, I think. Like if you change the stigma of only having to put stuff that's positive on, then I think, yeah, it'll just go from there. So I think fundamentally you pick and choose certain aspects that you want people to see. But yeah, I think fear is the word, or kind of, I think if you don't know people as well, then you're less likely to be honest. So I would say if I was sending a picture or something directly to a small group of people that I know and that I trusted, then I'd be far more honest with them than if I was putting on a platform that anybody could see, not just people that you know, not just mutual friends, not just people that kind of know someone that knows someone. It could be for anybody, especially if you have like a public account that anyone, it's like halfway across the world, could see. So you might not even meet them, but for some reason people have this need to kind of please the people that you can't even see. So yeah, I don't really understand why that's the case, but I think it is. I think it all stems from insecurity, I think. And then if you're having a bad day, then you have a photo that you took a while ago that it makes you feel good. I think that's good. So that's a positive. It's not saying that you're lying to anybody, but it's just if it's impacting well on your mental health and kind of your own emotions, then I think it's good. I think there definitely was a stigma with saying like social media is a bad thing, but I think people are now aware of that and we're working on it.